Hello, guys. Welcome back to a new election prediction. This time it's the monthly Senate prediction. So we're going to start with the first few states here. So California, Washington, obviously safe states. Same with Hawaii. Then we're going to go to the safe Reds ones. Utah, Mitt Romney might face a primary challenger, but I still think Romney will probably win against that primary challenger. Utah's a very more establishment state for Republicans. So safe red, either way. The two Nebraska Senate seats, North Dakota, Tennessee, Mississippi, Indiana, even though they have an open Senate seat here, it's just a very Republican state, so most Republicans here will be easily able to clear over 10%. With Missouri, it's one of the safe red states that could go to likely Republican if Lucas Kuntz, the Democrat, runs a solid campaign here. But honestly, I still think Josh Hawley wins here by like 11 to 12 points against Lucas Kuntz. In West Virginia, we're going to come back to that one later because it'll be a competitive state. And it currently has an incumbent senator there. With Vermont and Maine, I think Angus King and Bernie Sanders are both going to run for re-election, and they'll easily win by like 15 points. So Angus King will win by 15, Sanders probably like 50 or something around there. Okay, I think we could begin starting the states. So Minnesota, just safe Democratic. Again, Amy Klobuchar, she's an overperformer. She just easily landslides in every election in Minnesota. But I think we're going to see some decline in the rural areas here. I don't think she'll have such a big win like she did in 2018. I think we'll see a bit of a decline just because of polarization. Sort of what we saw with Chuck Schumer in New York. In Virginia, we're going to see Tim Kaine probably win by like 9 points, nearly a safe margin. I do think that presidentially, we're going to see Virginia trend a little bit in favor of Republicans. Like, we're only going to see, like, if it's Biden versus Trump, it'll be like an 8 point win for Biden. But I think we're going to see a somewhat competitive race. It could honestly go to safe blue, in my opinion. But for now, likely blue. New Mexico also likely blue. Again, it's probably going to be an 8 to 9 point victory for the Democratic senator here. With Bob Casey in Pennsylvania, if it's Doug Mastriano, it's straight up safe blue. He's just that terrible of a candidate that he honestly has no chance at winning. However, I really think it's going to be that other guy who ran against Mehmet Oz. What was his name? McCormick? Yeah, I think he's going to put self-fund this race, but he's still going to lose by like 6 to 7 points against Bob Casey. And that's what I think the nominee for Republicans will be. That's unless Mastriano wins a nomination, which could happen. It's a coin flip. Okay, next few states. We'll start with West Virginia. So Jim Justice, I mean, we're seeing some filing reports suggesting that Justice may very well run for this West Virginia Senate seat. And if he does, honestly, it's probably a safe Republican flip for them. If it's anyone else besides Jim Justice, likely are. Because I don't think they're as good as Jim Justice is, like, competitively in West Virginia. But I think if it's Jim Justice, he's a popular governor here. He'll pretty much win by 12 points against Joe Manchin. However, it's anyone else, they only win by 6 points against Manchin. Again, Manchin, he probably squeezed out as much as he can in this state. He got lucky in 2018. He won there against a pretty, it was pretty much a blue wave in 2018, so he coasted off that. But other people in West Virginia just lost, except for him. But as of right now, he's going to have to get so many split ticket voters. It's going to be like borderline impossible for him to win if it's against a good candidate like Jim Justice, because this is an R plus 40 state. Okay, which state should we head to next? We'll knock out Florida, I would say. With Rick Scott, it has potential to go to a 4 point race, like in the lean category, but I just think that Trump or DeSantis will easily win Florida, and they'll just help Rick Scott out here. He'll probably win by like 6 points, which I currently expect him to win by. So that's the current margin there. Okay. We'll head to Michigan and Wisconsin next. I think both these states are just lean blue. Again, with Slotkin, she's a very strong candidate, so I think she'll have pretty strong appeal in Michigan. In Wisconsin, with Baldwin, she doesn't have the best approval rating. But at the same time, her approval rating still slightly better than Ron Johnson, and he was able to win re-election here. So if Trump or DeSantis wins Wisconsin by like a good bit, they could flip the Wisconsin Senate race. But I still think Tammy Baldwin's quite favored here. So I think she probably wins by about 3 to 4 points, and she could even win by a likely margin if it's a very weak GOP candidate. But for now, 3 point win. Michigan, probably like a 4 point win or even almost a 5 point win for Slotkin. Okay, next few states. We'll do Nevada and Arizona. Nevada, I'm just going to put as lean blue. Even with Republican turnout being 10 points higher than Democratic turnout in 2022, Republicans still weren't able to flip the Senate seat. And honestly, in the general election, we're going to see a much higher Democratic turnout in the state. So I just think the Democratic senator here will probably win by like 2 to 3 points against her Republican opponent. I just don't really think they have a good chance at unseating someone, especially with higher Democratic turnout. In Arizona, Sinema is like pointing out that well, she's kind of leaning towards not running so far from what I've read. So I just don't think she runs at this point. But even if she does run, I still think Gallagher's favored to win the Senate seat here because the polling is just not helping Republicans. Sinema's siphoning off a lot of Republican support. It's like 50-50. Sometimes she may even be taking more Republican support away just because most Democrats hate her. She has a 90% disapproval rating from Democrats. The only people who like her are like the moderate independents and maybe some center-right people. But again, that will hurt someone like Kari Lake, who's probably going to be the GOP nominee here. It's probably going to be a weak candidate overall because it looks in that field. It just doesn't look that strong, and Gallagher's probably going to win here. And I don't expect Sinema to run, but if Sinema were not to run, Gallagher would win by 3. If Sinema were to run, Gallagher would probably win by 1.5. I think she'll take away like 1% away from him, but that's about it. Okay, these next few races. We'll start with Texas. Well, Colin Allred, he's a very strong candidate for the state of Texas, and Ted Cruz has a pretty bad approval rating. So he's going to be quite vulnerable, and I think Texas is going to be R+4 if it's Trump versus Biden. And I think that Ted Cruz would underperform Trump by a bit, a point or two. So I think he only wins this race by a narrow, lean margin, probably by about 3 points, I would say, Ted Cruz wins. But again, the Democrats actually have a good candidate potentially running in this Senate race against Cruz. And it's crucial that they actually target this state because this is one of their actual potential pickups they could get. Because let's be honest, Florida's just trending so Republican, they don't have a real good shot. With Texas, they actually have a decent chance, especially if they just win by a landslide, the Democrats, and they actually win Texas presidentially. They'll probably carry Texas's Senate race if they do that. Okay, the next few states. With Ohio, it's going to be very tough for Sherrod Brown to win. He has to have like 250,000 voters split their tickets here and vote R presidentially and vote blue in the Senate. And, you know, it's going to be very hard for that to really happen. I mean, we'll have to wait till there actually is some polling in this race because there's been none so far. I don't know why. It's one of the most key Senate races for Senate control, in my opinion. That in Montana. There needs to be more polling done in Ohio. I want to know what's going on there. But as of right now, because I expect Trump and DeSantis to win Ohio by a likely margin, I just don't think there's enough split ticket voters for Sherrod Brown to win as of right now. And I think it would still be an under 1% race. It'll still be within that margin of error. But I still think Republicans are still favored to win this race by a 0.8% margin, I would say, against Sherrod Brown. Even though he has decent approval ratings, it's just going to be very tough for him to get many split ticket voters. Like 250,000 he needs. It's different in Montana because he only needs 50,000 split ticket voters. So it's a lot easier to do considering he also has a 60% approval rating, way higher than Sherrod Brown's. So I do think Tester's quite favored to win re-election. Also, the GOP candidates, Zink and Rosendale, they're kind of trash. They're not good candidates. They're just not going to appeal that well to those moderate voters, those moderate split ticket voters in Montana who are more likely to go with Tester because he's a popular incumbent senator. So the Republicans narrowly retake the Senate by 51 seats, but there's 2 races that could change it, Texas and Ohio. If Democrats win one of them, they just have to win the presidency and they have control of the Senate. But yeah, that's my elector prediction video. That's the Senate prediction for the month of May. I'll see you guys in the next video.